Y'all know I'm not an iPhone user and or an iPhone fan, but this news has got me excited. Meaning, I think I'm gonna have to go get this phone, and I can't even believe I'm saying this. I'm excited about an iPhone, probably for the first time ever. We reported on this. When was it? Maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I got a report that Apple. Let me pull this up. Let's pull this up. Give me 1 second here. So we got news that about a week ago, right? We got news that Apple was potentially going to make a razor thin iPhone. Now, when you hear razor thin iPhone, first thing, got a damn flying bug in here. Sorry. First thing you think of is, okay, cool. How's that going to fit in? And what do you mean razor thin? Well, we got another report today from a very, very reliable source that appears that rock solid sourcing is as far as the past rumors that they put out. Essentially, almost 100% of them became true. So this is about as rock solid as a report as you can get, which is why it has me pretty excited. Minus a last second ditch or a last second change of plans. This is a real thing. So Apple is going to create a razor thin iPhone. Now we know they have been in development with a foldable device, right? They just put in a patent. We'll get back to the razor thin, but let me outline kind of what Apple's been working on behind the scenes. So forever they've been wanting to come out with a foldable, correct? We've seen some rendering, some hints at them potentially making a foldable iPhone, and then down the line a foldable iPad, essentially making it a MacBook like, or at least on Mac OS software, because obviously MacBooks are foldables, but this one's going to be all screen iPad, meaning the keyboard's going to be a screen, and the part you fold open is going to be a screen as well, right? So we know that they're trying to make a foldable device, and just last week as well, more Big Apple news, they actually it appears they finally got it. Now, they've been working on this foldable device for a very, very long time, and they never really put too much in it because they want to make a foldable that has a zero crease screen, meaning when you fold open the device, there's no crease, because with all these Android devices, there's a little crease in there when you open them up, right? Well, Apple has been searching for a hinge that when it's folded open, there shows zero crease on the display. And it appears they found it. They put a new patent in. Nobody can copy this hinge. It's their own hinge that creates a smooth display when open. So it does appear that they're going to make a fold. No, it's going to be an iPhone first, and then all the others will come after. They're going to test the waters with an iPhone first. So it looks like here in the near future, we're going to have some very, very exciting iPhones, which for the longest, we could never, ever say that, ever, about any iPhone. Look, the ones coming out here at the a little later this year, boring. They look nice, yes, but they look like every other iPhone put out for the last 5 years. You know, who gets excited about that? When's the last time you got super excited about an iPhone launch? Every single iPhone launch for the last 5 years, no matter if I'm hearing somebody off the street, no matter if I'm talking to somebody here on YouTube or one of my other channels, No matter if I hear, I'm listening to a podcast, right? Hot 97, Peter Rosenberg last year. Oh, the new iPhone 15 is coming out. Are you going to get it? And Peter Rosenberg, what's the big deal? It's the same iPhone. I think it has better cameras though. No, I'm going to stick with my iPhone 12. Really? See what I'm saying? Nobody gets excited. It's the same iPhone every year. I think it's just imperative for Apple to come up with some type of innovation, right? Even if it looks the same on the back, at least make it a flip. I mean, that would blow people's. I mean, it would be iPhone all over, iPhone excitement all over again. Remember how people used to line up in front of the stores when an iPhone would drop? People would line up around the stores to camp out at night. Yes, I know younger people out there, you may think that's insane. I remember that. I remember iPhone, when the very first iPhone came out, second iPhone came out, I think even all the way up to like iPhone 6 or 7. They used to have people camping outside of these stores, Apple stores, AT&T stores, literally sleeping on the street overnight just to be one of the very first ones to get iPhones. It's not like that anymore. I think if you introduce a foldable iPhone, iPhone flip, that would create enormous buzz around your product, and they would sell out. God, they would sell out. Literally in one day, all their units sold. Right. Now let's get back to this new razor thin iPhone. So here's where the innovation. I think we're gonna see a tide turning for iPhone, which we haven't been able to say in a long time, as I mentioned. So now this new razor thin iPhone is not going to come out this year. It's not going to be a part of the iPhone 16 series, right? However, we do have information in mock-ups and behind the scenes information that say Apple's planning on implementing this brand new iPhone into next year's lineup. So it'll be iPhone 17 Slim or iPhone 17 Thin or whatever, iPhone 17 something. So out of all the models they have, so you say, well, are they just going to introduce a fifth iPhone? I mean, that's a lot, right? Because they have this year they put out the iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? This up in this for this year's model for the iPhone 16 series that come out in September, you're going to put out the iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Plus, and iPhone 16 Pro Max. As we mentioned yesterday, go back, we covered them extensively in our yesterday's podcast. The iPhone 16 Pro Max going to be ginormous, 6.9 inch display, damn near 7 inches, way bigger than the S24 Ultra. I have no idea how anybody's going to use it with one hand. But check this out. Here's where the good stuff comes in. Okay, so how are they going to implement this new iPhone 17 Slim? Well, what they're going to do is actually replace a model. So they're going to take one of those 4 iPhones I just mentioned, because remember, this is going to be for 17. So going into this year's 16, they're going to replace one of these models. iPhone 16, their base model, iPhone 16 Pro, which they're going to increase the screen size for the iPhone 16 Pro up to 6.3 inches, right? The iPhone 15 Pro is 6.1. So you can see they're slowly making some changes, which is good. And then they're also going to have the 16 Plus and 16 Pro Max. So which one out of those are they going to replace? Because it's not going to be a fifth. They're replacing one of these models. Can you guess? Well, if you think about it, what's their least selling iPhone out of those 4 devices? Which one sells the least? Meaning, which one has the smallest number of sales? And what's a good way to boost sales, spark interest all over again? Well, you could either increase a whole nother model, or if you want to keep the SKUs low, the models low, you can just replace your least selling device with a new cutting edge technology type of device. And that's what they're going to do. The iPhone, the Plus series, the Plus model. So the iPhone, I think they started with the what was it? Wasn't the 13, 14. It was with the 14, last year's 14. So iPhone 14 Plus, iPhone 15 Plus. Sales are in the toilet. I mean, it is a drastic, noticeable difference between the sales of the base model. That's a very common model. That's the cheapest model that they sell, the iPhone 15 or iPhone 16, right? The Pro model, very popular. iPhone 15 Pro and upcoming 16 Pro. The smaller Pro version, this year they're increasing, as I mentioned, that smaller version, that Pro version, up to 6.3 inches. So people will be more enticed to buy a little bigger iPhone 16 Pro. And those are very popular. People love a small Pro device, which is why Google is making a Google Pixel 9 Pro. It's going to be a smaller phone, but it's going to have all flagship internals, right? So, and obviously the Pro Max, that's their flagship device of their whole lineup, right? It just is. I think that's the highest selling phone, I believe. If it's not the Pro, the smaller Pro, the Pro Max numbers are through the roof. It's the most expensive device as well. So what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of the Plus version. So they're going to get rid of they're going to keep the 16 Plus this year, as I mentioned. Nothing's going to change this year. Next year, iPhone 17, they're going to remove the iPhone 17 Plus, and they're going to put in an iPhone 17 Thin or iPhone 17 Slim, whatever the naming is. They're going to put their razor thin phone in where the Plus is. That is going to sell a gazillion units. That is the one, and again, I can't believe I'm saying this, that I think I'm going to get. I don't like iPhone, but I love thin phones. Or thin tablets, thin products, right? The bulkier, the worse. The heavier, the worse. I like my stuff thin and light, right? I think they could sell out of these. I think it's a phenomenal idea. We just don't know the internals yet. We do know that they're going to make a razor thin. Now, when I say razor thin, I'm talking, how thin is this device? What's the thinnest device that I have? Go to esimstudios.com. That's my blog. I do tech news, all that good stuff on there. Go to techstudios.app. That's my progressive web app that I developed from the ground up. All about technology. Tech news. I have service deals. If you need service from a SIM card or eSIM, I have deals on service. I have how to protect yourself from a SIM swap on there. Got a lot of stuff on there, right? Just for y'all. A little bit of everything in phone tech at techstudios.app. And then we have the unlocker.app. If you want to learn how to unlock phones for free, go to the unlocker.app. Okay, so let's check out where is the thickness here? Here we go. It's 0.3 inches thick. 7.7 millimeters thick. That's typically in the phone industry, we don't look at inches. That's why they put them in parentheses. I know that's US American standard measurements in inches, but let's face it, the rest of the world uses millimeters when in nanometers. See, look at these processors in nanometers, 4 nanometers. So 7.7 millimeters, that's the thickness. Let's go by that. So this is the thinnest phone that I have. So we got reports that this new iPhone 17 thin, iPhone 17 Razr, I probably won't use Razr because Motorola has the naming rights to Razr. It's probably going to be iPhone, who knows, slim, thin, slim pickings. I have no idea. But we have reports that when I say thin, it's kind of hard to imagine, could be literally half that number. So I've heard reports it's going to be 3 millimeters thick, which in my mind, I mean, it's hard to even wrap your brain around that. Up to 4 to 5 millimeters. So let's split the difference. So if it's from 3 to 5 millimeters, let's just say 4, right? So it'd essentially be almost half as thick as this phone right here. Look at this. almost half. If you can think of half of that thickness. So if you take this phone, split it in half right down the middle, not this way, not vertically, but horizontally. It's basically where the speaker is, right? You see where the speaker is right here? Just split that in half, that's right in the middle, and either look at the top half or the bottom half, and that's how thin it's going to be. Absolutely insane how thin it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to fit all those internals in there. That's why they're going to replace the larger model, the 6.7 inch model. Now, it may not have a 6.7, it may be 6.8, maybe 6.6. But the thinner it is, the more area you're going to need. The more area you're going to need it to be spread out, because you have to put all the internals in there: the CPU, the speaker, the display. You have to put cameras on the back. So there's going to be. It's probably going to be at least a 6.7, probably 6.8. Now remember, well, you're saying, well, that may interfere with your Pro Max size. Well, remember, the Pro Max is getting bigger, up to 6.9, almost 7 inches. So even if they have to, in the current Plus size is a 6.7. So even if they got to go up to a 6.8, they'll do that just to fit everything in there. And trust me, the Pro Max is going to look gigantuan sized next to this thin phone, razor thin phone. Hang on, my earbud's about to die. I gotta change my earbud. Hang on. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Y'all can hear? Yeah, y'all can hear. So that's what I'm saying. I think this would get everybody excited. Cannot wait. So, now, where does the Fold come in? So the Fold is going to come in on the iPhone, possibly iPhone 17. So here's the really, really exciting thing. We initially thought the iPhone Flip was going to be an iPhone 18 exclusive. They're going to introduce the Flip model into the iPhone 18, which would not be next year. It would be that the year that they're introducing the thin phone. It would be the year after with iPhone 18. So they would introduce that in 2025. There is a small chance, very, very small chance, they could introduce the iPhone Flip in this year's model, but I highly doubt it. I think that's coming next year, 2025. That seems like the more realistic. If they introduced a flip phone and a thin phone all in 1 year, people's brains would explode. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to introduce the slim, the thin phone for this upcoming year. So the 18 would be the year after. Well, there's a chance, right? So there's not going to be on the iPhone 16. Nothing. iPhone 16 staying the same. So I got that backwards. iPhone 16 going to remain the same. iPhone 17, which will be next year, will be the thin phone, and possibly the flip phone, but more likely to introduce the flip phone on the iPhone 18, which would be 2026. However, I've heard rumblings that they could introduce the flip and the thin in the same year. That would just be incredible. I would like to know y'all's choice. Would you rather have an iPhone 17 flip or iPhone 17 thin device? And if the flips were sold out for a whole year, would you buy a thin? Or would you just wait? Let's see. Here is the report. Let's go to the report. I'm 30 minutes in and haven't even shown the source yet. with these basic ass generic iPhone models, how long can you go producing the same model year in and year out without people starting to lose interest? Because in the Android world, doing some absolutely extraordinary things. These Android device manufacturers are making some absolutely phenomenal devices, whether it's the flip phones from not only Samsung, right? You got OnePlus making them now, Pixel's making a flip or fold. You have Oppo over in China doing it, and of course, as I mentioned, Samsung's the biggest one that's almost perfected it, but Apple may beat them to the punch, making a zero crease screen. But we also have some Samsung news with screen creases here in just a minute we're going to get to. But let's look at this real quick, then we'll move on. Boom! Smack dab right in the middle. Nothing Phone 2A. Let's see. Now, regarding screen size, a report indicates that the display will likely be between the 6. There's no way they can get it to 6.1. I don't believe so. Maybe they could, and it would be a technological marvel if they can fit a 4mm thick phone. Remember, these things have a motherboard in there. They have a battery in there that takes up a lot of space. They have speakers. They got all these buttons, all these components, cameras, microphones that they have to cram in here. So I doubt they can fit it in a 6.1 inch display phone being 4mm thick. But it looks like since they are gonna pull the Plus model, it'll likely have a 6.7 inch display. It'll be on the bigger side, not smaller side. The iPhone X also introduced a significant jump in price when it was introduced, roughly at $1,000. Now, the potential for another redesign refresh that's going to have people's brains exploding. It's reasonably, you can assume that they're probably going to raise the price on this as well, just because they're doing something new. It is going to be cutting edge. It's going to be the talk of the town. Everybody's going to talk about it from your, obviously here on the eSIM Studios YouTube channel, but everybody, your mom's going to talk about it, right? Your dad, that new thin iPhone. It's going to be on the news. It's going to be on every podcast. Literally, everybody's going to know about this, all right? Same thing with the flip. The flip even more so. The first people, they watch this podcast. They know what the people are thinking out here in the real world, and they'll move accordingly, right? They're smart. Even though I don't prefer iPhone, I do give them their props when props are due, and I think this is a absolutely phenomenal idea, phenomenal roadmap for the iPhone, for the Apple iPhone. This is going to take them into outer space, in my opinion.